For those who aren't familiar with us, my name is Melanie Ewan. I'm one of the co-founders and managing partners at Volition. And essentially, we are dedicated to elevating entrepreneurship through skills-based training, through community events, as well as through one-on-one coaching. So when COVID hit, one of the main things we wanted to understand is what's going on in our community and the founders that we've worked with over the years, whether it be through that coaching or training or events. And we reached out to the community and heard that, as everyone knows now, there was a huge impact in the startup landscape, and people were experiencing various pain points and various kind of pivots and complications, and really wanted a way to get more visible and connect. So that's why we started these founder chats, and then we've just continued them because they're honestly just so much fun. And also it's just like, it's fantastic to get to know the founders in our community better, and to get to share their stories with the broader community as well. So hi, Sabrina.
Hi, Sabrina.
So really excited to be here. I've known Anna for a couple of years now. I don't remember. I was going to look up when we first met you. You would know because you were pregnant at the time, so you should probably know the exact time that we met you.
Spring of 2017.
Spring of 2017. Yes. Okay. So it was absolutely fantastic. I actually still remember the first pitch event that you pitched at. Well, it was the first one I saw you pitch at. I can't remember if it was your first one or your second one. I think it was your second one. And I still remember that. And I remember seeing you up there and seeing your first pitch. And it's very exciting to see what that journey has looked like over time. So for those who don't know Anna is the founder of myMomentum, and she's going to tell you lots more about myMomentum. But essentially what the next 30 minutes will be is a casual conversation, kind of facilitated conversation, if you will. And I'll be asking questions, but please do, whether you're joining us right now or you're joining us afterwards on IGTV or YouTube, feel free to submit questions yourself, and we'll be checking those. If you ask anything for Anna after the fact, we will pass on your questions to her. So please do say hi and ask your questions. In terms of myMomentum, I have like a one-line sentence about what myMomentum is, but I also know that you can explain it so much better than me and the evolution that it has gone through. So what I have here is that I keep doing that. myMomentum is a community platform that brings people together with all things healthy. And I know that there's just so much involved with that. And where I generally really like to start is to have a better understanding of what is the story of myMomentum, and what is your story within that context. So we'd love to learn more about you and why you started myMomentum.
Yeah, for sure. Well, firstly, this is my first time, actually, I just wanted to say, on IG Live. I don't know where I've been. I've been living under the rock or something, because like in COVID, everyone's doing IG Live. So I am really excited to be here. I did a lot of Zoom and stuff like that over the last 6 months, but I realized I've never been on IG Live before. First time for me. Yeah, and I'd love to tell you a little bit more about myMomentum. I always sort of start the story with me being in Asia, because that's a really big part of my life. Back in 2011, my husband and I decided to make a bold change. We're actually from Winnipeg, and I was born and raised in a small town in Manitoba, and we wanted to go do something different. So we found ourselves over in Asia for 6 years. I was working with a number of different startups, from all the way from growth, which I actually started backwards because I started with corporate. So I went then to a high growth startup in like year 7 or 8. I thought that was so tiny. And then I went to a smaller startup in year 3 or 4. They just were post-seed round. And I thought that was like super small. And then my last 2 years of my 6-year stint over in Shanghai was with literally launching, like there was me and one other person, and I was responsible for all the business development and making everything grow. That really was amazing. But 2 years took a toll on me really badly. More than when I look back now, it was really bad. And I really hit a burnout. To recover, I just had to like quit my job. I realized I also didn't love where I was going with my career in the like the sector I was going into. There's a lot of things were like coming to the surface, like percolating. I knew I needed just to take a break and just like focus on myself, and my health was first and foremost. And so, yeah, during that year off, I ended up being an instructor. I taught spin, and other group classes, and I really fell in love with it. And people around me that knew me all my life were like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with yourself? And all I knew is that I didn't know where I was going, but I felt the most alignment ever, just by teaching a group class full of people that I really love to inspire, and the energy from a group fitness class. So I wanted to build on that, and the fact that where I was going would be mine, totally mine, that I could build on my own, and my voice could be heard. That was really where I was at in my life, was like, I've got so much to say. I want to say it, and I want to do it like how I want to build something, how I would love to build it, with like deep values, with connection and community first and foremost at the forefront, and innovation. I had no idea what that would look like. But so I started to fall in love with building community around the studios I was working with. And I've always had experience with sales. Investment is my first, finance and investment is actually my first corporate gig for almost a decade. And then I did so much sales and business development. And so naturally I fell into that, where as I was building community, I was also doing an element of, bringing more people through the door for those studios and classes, just naturally. So all those sort of floating pieces going on in my mind, where it was like wellness, all things healthy, community, connection, and aspects of business development, which I'll always fall into. But then most importantly, what I heard from people from my classes were that I think I'm going to have to practice first and then come join your class. And I'm like, that's bizarre, because I'm here for the music and for the small movements that we're going to do together. And so I really started to focus on how can you make healthy choices very incrementally, and not like a number, a calorie count, a step count, or whatever.
Just make it like real and accessible. Yeah.
Right. And so, bringing that right to the forefront. And I guess when I moved back, I eventually ended my stay in Shanghai, because I knew that the missing piece for me was to come back to Canada to really find my momentum. So as I was doing that, I was starting to find my own momentum back. My health was getting better. I was happier. And then moving to Vancouver was really that missing piece. I came here, I felt way more grounded. I knew no one here, but I did fall in love with the idea of technology, that I don't have that background. So injecting that piece was a little bit of the missing piece for me, for the seeds of my momentum. So there were so many floating parts. There's wellness, there's technology now, there's incremental steps and choices, not goals. There's connection, there's community. So all those pieces were floating in my mind, and here I really felt that I could bring them all together. And so, essentially what we are today is all those things together. We are actually a tech company. We're a wellness app, but we're a community-based wellness platform, essentially, that is that interesting intersection that I think post-COVID we're going to see a lot more of, is the offline and online starting to blur, because they're not actually separate. And so we've had that from day one back in 2017. And I just remember people thinking, what are you talking about? And now it starts to make more sense. And community is like the foundation of what we do. And we just bring it all together through like promoting and making healthy choices accessible. But inspiring people to make that small choice, not that massive goal.
Yeah, amazing. And I know I'm going to get into like what is the vision of myMomentum, because I know that things have really shifted over the last year, and then you're kind of like getting back to the roots a little bit now as you look forward in some ways from the last time we had a conversation. So I'm curious to get an update as well. I feel like there's so many interesting things that you just touched on that resonate with me, like having gone through burnout and having that deep interest in wellness. And that's something that it's not a part of my day-to-day life right now, but in my past, like my degree was in health sciences and kinesiology, and I did my yoga teacher training, and it's always been a big part of my life. And I love that idea of having a space to go to, even if like me, you've done it in the past, but now you're getting back into it, and you still like, there's still that hesitation of like, how do I take my first few small steps to get back into these different areas of wellness in my life and whatever that's going to be. Like, how do I get motivation? How do I be a part of a community? How do I find my people? I think that's like for me where I even if I know that I have done it in the past, just kind of getting back into things is really can be really difficult and intimidating, especially if you have burned out in the past and are really wanting to do things in a right way for yourself. So it's very, very interesting story, and I appreciate you sharing with us. I don't know if I've heard that whole story before, so it was really very interesting. Yeah, very cool. So something that we've touched on in a lot of the conversations, and I know had an impact on you, was COVID, obviously, 2020. And this really changed the trajectory of myMomentum in 2020. So I'd love to hear kind of that story of the evolution of like, December 2019 and what you were ramping up for, and then what happened. And then we'll get into vision, but just like take us through the December to August kind of journey and what that was like for you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's been a crazy whirlwind. I can't believe it's already September.
Yeah.
Just, December, I think where my headspace was at in December, we essentially right before then had put out an Indiegogo campaign, which for anybody that doesn't know, Indiegogo is sort of like Kickstarter, essentially, with a little bit more flexibility. Yeah. I know Volition was a big support for that, so thank you guys again for that. We did a great job. We didn't hit our goal. It was a very stretch goal, but I realized that we did not have enough runway to get us through much past like a couple months at most. And so, where my head was at in December was we are going to have to, I think what every entrepreneur has to face at some point in their lives or in their journey is that there's going to be a little bit of a sidestep to get to that end goal, but keep seeing the forest through the trees. And that was what 2020 was going to be for us. We knew that we were very strong with brand and offline connection, and that we would have to lean into that in the absence of any funding for technology at the time, or big funding. And things just take time. Like, you can't get from 0 to 10,000 users overnight. I mean, if someone can, like, please call me. I'd love to know.
Especially with bootstrapping and no advertising dollars, just.
Exactly. So it's very chicken and egg. So I think the strategy really was to come offline, and we love that part. So we thought, while we do that, we can keep organically building our community, and that's all win-win. Yeah. So we started with a big plan in January, and we essentially went from 0 revenue dollars in the fall, because we hadn't started monetizing, to monetizing in a big way. Like triple-digit percentages growth month on month. For January and February, because we were able to do that through events. And I know you guys have a similar story as well, where you go offline quite a bit for events. And we met so many great people. We strengthened our community that way as well. Yeah. We did a huge event March 7th. I remember that day where it was like, ooh, like gotta bring out the sanitizers, and I'm not sure, are we gonna be able to do this or not? Yeah. And people still came. Yeah. And literally the next week, like 3 days later, it was lockdown. Yeah. And so we managed to squeeze that one through. But essentially second week of March, it was that flurry of 48 hours where it just became lockdown, and we had 100% non-diversified revenue into one offline event, several event series, but it was just
all offline events.
Yeah. And I just remember having that like essentially holy shit moment where we are not going to survive. And I just looked at the numbers, what I owe for, monthly, monthly liabilities and expenses, and what's going to come in, and it just did not add up. Yeah. And so, it was just a moment where, we just had to have like a real conversation with my team. I didn't want to leave them in the dark. And I said, we're just not going to make it. I remember being tagged on Instagram repeatedly over that 48 hours. There was a thing going on, like tag your favorite local company. And we just got bundled in that group. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And I just felt this like feeling like we can't quit right now. Like, let's try. So I remember asking my team, like, how do you guys feel about continuing on? Like, this is going to mean a really, like, we've got to make big waves if we're going to continue. At the same time, I also had no childcare. So my son just turned 2 and I was full-time mom again. So it was really big change. Yeah, long story short, my team was 100% committed, often working with no pay. There was no certainty, but they just knew they wanted to keep on with this project. So what I did equally was I committed to working, I don't recommend this to anyone, but insane hours. I would take care of my son from 7 to 7, and then I'd jump on my laptop when he was sleeping, and I'd jump on at night and just go for it, and do anything I could to save the business. Equally, the community was very supportive, like insanely supportive for us, and I felt the commitment that I needed to make to them as well. So we flipped our events digitally. For anyone that knows us, we do a swag bag, and it's full of goodies from our partners that we have that are in the health and wellness space. There was no way really to get product to people, so I drove and delivered those goodie bags, which in lockdown everybody appreciated. We created M-Box out of that, which is a box of healthy goodies. I was like, hey, I've got stuff in my car, throw in a box. And we partnered with April Bellia, from the founder of Granola Girl, who was an absolute, like, a big supporter from day one for us, and the perfect partner to launch that. And then out of that, in about end of May, we realized the way we do our reward system in the app was very multi-stepped and not owned by us from a distribution perspective. And we thought there's a huge opportunity that we can, and the vision from day one, which I know we'll go into, I always thought from end of 2016, myMomentum would be almost like an e-commerce element. And suddenly I was like, hey, let's narrow down what people are earning for their points to live well. And there's a bit of choice paralysis there, because we kick them off the app, they use a promo code, they go onto another website, they have to decide. And
there's a lot of barriers. Why
don't we curate more, which we're great at, to one reward, and let's throw that in the car and I'll deliver that too. And so 1,000 deliveries I've done in COVID, and it's not even been 6 months. We're totally a routine now. But I drive Mondays and Thursdays. It's all set up now. But yeah, 1,000 deliveries later, we've seen triple-digit month-on-month growth in revenue, and the community has been growing. So I never would have foresaw that. It's been wild.
But I mean, it's such a testament to the work you've done to develop your community. And I think, like, looking at those entrepreneurial kind of lessons learned, it sounds like I'm already hearing so many come out in your conversation, in the conversation we're having, where you're talking about this community you built, and really, like, listening to your community when crisis hits, and sometimes taking cues for them that like, when we're feeling that in that space of like, can I even go on, taking cues from them that they also, they want you there and they need you there, and they will be there to support you likewise when you've built that trust. And I think, like, if anyone ever, questions the ROI on building a community and on doing things like these 1,000, personal drop-offs, then you can see in moments like that how incredibly important it is. And I'm just like, it's incredible what you've accomplished during this time. So congratulations for that. Very much so. And okay, so you've been through so many evolutions, I feel like, and I know, like, even on, like, the fundraising side of things, there's been ups and downs, and things have gone in many different directions. And then I love that you're now talking about how you're focusing now, which I love, and you've learned so much over the last hi. Hello, new people who are joining us. Say hello, tell us where you're from. And feel free to ask questions. We've been talking about the journey of myMomentum and the evolution of myMomentum, and just getting into the vision, and there's so many pieces to this. I feel like we could talk for so long about the evolution of myMomentum. So really excited about this. So I really want to give the space to understand better. So now that you're at this point, you did the boxes, you're building this community, you've been building your revenue. What does the next, like, year look like, and what is your kind of future vision for myMomentum? Where are you headed?
Yeah, I think it's super important for us to bring everything into even more alignment. I think what happened in COVID for us was what started with a slap on the face of, hey,
Hmm.
all your revenue, slap you in the face, you don't get that anymore. Actually put us back into real alignment. I
Yeah.
always knew that we would go on a sidestep and we're back on track, but it happened so fast. And I think
Yeah.
it's all good things. And I know a lot of businesses are saying the same. So I want to continue that path of really great alignment where the revenue is all happening in the app,
Yeah.
and that the revenue is very, I think all businesses, it's such a tough thing because we're impact first. But at the end of the day, we also have to make money to survive. But that if there's a way that we can continue to do great business whilst being able to do great things and inspire
Hmm.
people, and the app is the thing that inspires people. I mean, we in person also inspire people. If we can keep bringing that interesting intersection between the human element of being there in person and creating community,
Hmm.
and delivering an amazing product through the app, and the ability to get product to your door through the functionality of the app being quasi e-commerce, that's definitely the vision, where we can have elements automated, but the elements that are super important, like being there in person, never automated. So that's
Hmm.
kind of my vision over the next 12 months. You also touched on my ups and downs of fundraising. I've
Yeah.
had like the craziest journey. And interesting enough, I was always somebody that was like, I've got an investment background, a sales background, and I just wanted, like, the reason why I wanted to be an entrepreneur was like, hey, I want to just go for it, get funding, let's go.
Yeah.
I think being a mom at the same time has taught me to slow down, which was ironically in the 6 years that I worked in Shanghai, my biggest complaint was we're not moving fast enough. But these things just don't happen overnight. Starting a
Yeah.
business doesn't happen overnight. This is year 5 for me, and it takes a like great things don't happen overnight at all. So yeah, fundraising has never happened for me. So I bootstrapped everything. It's been
Yeah.
slow. It's been organic. It's been the true testament of running lean. But I would love to have that in the cards in the next 12 months, because I think we're at a time where we're ready to
Hmm.
grow. And
Yeah.
we've got
You
a
have
bit
the
of a growth,
traction. Yeah.
yeah, scaling issue right now. We've got logistics to figure out. We do need that injection of capital to get us to the next stage.
Hmm.
And I think that fits where I want to be as an owner as well. We don't want to achieve 10x growth, but we also don't want to be a lifestyle business. We want to
Right.
make amazing impact and we want to grow, but we want to do it on our own terms, where we can
Yeah.
do it and go for a hike on the weekend and not kill
Yeah.
ourselves. So
Yeah.
trying to find that balance in that vision for sure for the next year.
Yeah, yeah, but you have it defined and like you know what you want, and I feel like you've been through so much over the last 5 years, and previous to that too, that like you can. I feel like you're going to find a way to make it happen.
I
And I
hope
see
so.
someone's asking the name of the app for those who weren't here at the beginning. It's myMomentum, and if you go to what is it? Oops, my computer's doing funny things.
Yeah, any
It's
Apple
my
App Store. Yeah, sorry, go
I was gonna
ahead.
say it's mymomentum.com.
Yeah.
Then you can check it out, yeah, and find it in the App Store. And that's actually a question I would love to hear the answer to, because I haven't been on the app in a little bit because I'm now in Europe and it just hasn't made sense for me right now, but I'm going to get back on it. And I will say that I did get a package from myMomentum in the mail when I was in Spain, and it made me so happy. It was
Oh.
all of this incredible like organic food and treats and such, and it was really, really exciting. So it's a testament to it. Didn't get hand delivered to me in Spain, but it made me really
Next
happy.
time.
So, next time, yes. So in terms of if someone such as this person who's asking, they go to itsmymomentum.com, they download it onto their phone. What is the user experience on the actual application? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we are available on iOS or Android, any app store. We built both at the same time. You download the app, you'd instantly get on to the challenges screen,
Mm-hmm.
which essentially your own earning points. So you can start living well right away. We give you 3 types of challenges: move, nourish, reflect. And that would be any physical movement, anything thinking about what's good for your body, and an element of mindfulness. You don't actually have to sign up for the app or anything like that right away. You can use the app. It's just when you want to start redeeming your points, then we do require information, obviously, for me to get to your house or mail it to you. But it's all on an honor system. Each challenge you're doing, you get 10 points. You can also check out our community events, and you get points for coming offline to sweat with us. But there are very small things you can do in your day-to-day lifestyle. It's meant to be easy, incremental, and fun. And then you can basically check out on the next tab is called rewards. We've supported local from day one. Started here in Vancouver. Now we're actually boots on the ground and expanding over to Winnipeg, which is like my home city. Well, I'm not from Winnipeg, but basically home province. And we hope to be in all of Western Canada, so in the major cities like Vancouver, Calgary, and Winnipeg by the end of this year, or early next. And essentially, you can click on rewards, and you can start exchanging those points for great deals on your favorite goodies. Also, digital or online sweat options are available as well. And those are free. And the goodies are at like 20 to 30% discounts. I don't want to say it's one click because Amazon has that phrase, but it is a really great UX now. User experience has changed a lot in the last 3 months. So you would just click on the reward. So that you like the kombucha, you click on it, and then it's simply get now. And your kombucha's at your doorstep. From me with a lot of love in like 3 days.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, that's kind of what you would expect on the app. You can also find all the community events on the events tab as well.
Okay, cool. Yes. Yeah. So if you didn't hear the beginning of the story here today, make sure to check back with when I have this up on IGTV, because then you can hear all about kind of the origin story of myMomentum and Anna, and it's really, really interesting. So make sure to check back about that. But thank you for walking me through that. That's it's very exciting. And I'm keen, I'm so excited to see how it grows. And it's really great to hear that you're getting into Winnipeg and Western Canada. I'm just waiting for it to come to Europe, which would be exciting. Maybe I'll probably be back in Vancouver by the time it comes to Europe, but that's okay. That's incredible what you've done. So I feel like you've already shared a lot of, through your storytelling, shared a lot about like tips you would have for your peer entrepreneurs, but is there anything that you feel you've learned, it doesn't have to be in the last year, but anything you've learned on your journey that if you were to meet a fellow entrepreneur who's maybe just starting out on their journey, that you would want to share with them here today?
Yeah, I think a few things. First and foremost, like really get clear on what it is that you value. That's super important because along your journey, you're going to have so many obstacles, distractions, things like that. And I think knowing that what you stand for and what you want to achieve through what you stand for and your values, because this is your own thing, that needs to shine, and that's the most authentic. That's the way that you can be the most authentic through your venture, and that will always come through. I went through a whole year white canvas, and it was agonizing in the beginning. I was like lots of floating pieces. That is probably the hardest part. Really starting out is the hardest part. And there's going to be those moments that are natural drop-offs for every entrepreneur. And a lot of times it's that moment in the very beginning, you just can't get past that white canvas. You can't sit in that space for a long enough time. So yeah, if you can really get comfortable in that space, because that's going to carry you through, that's your foundation. The next piece of advice or like tip or what I've learned was, is just time. I always in the beginning when I was like, yeah, let's go for it in early 2017, and then I found I was pregnant, which I was very happy about, and it was intentional. I often would think, even to this year, I was like, oh, what does it mean in life? I always feel like everything has a meaning, but why at 36 when I finally decided to go for it, because I waited so long, I'm in my 20s, starting my own venture, am I now doing this while I'm 8 months pregnant? Or, as I'm like ready to go for it, I've got a 6-month-old as well, and I can't really go for it. I look back and it really taught me to slow down and just really sit in the discomfort of everything. And I think that's so important. Again, like things aren't built overnight. I'm in year 5 now, and it seems like we're just surfacing. It really forced me to really take the natural course. Everything takes a natural course. I used to listen to founder stories of like, oh, they bootstrapped for 8 years and they got funding. And I remember thinking, oh God, 8 years. We're bootstrapped 5 years. We're almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess the last one really is just, getting really clear on what you're good at and not focusing what you're not good at. So before I started myMomentum, I had a great mentor. I used to focus on things like, oh, I'm not enough there, or my weakness is here. Let's improve our weaknesses. I did a really cool thing called the Strengths Finder, and I found that the things that I'm strong at are just not anything I was actively working on. So what I did is double down on the things I'm strong at, and those could be very like soft skills or something that you were like, oh, I love to do, but that's not a skill, is that? Or how could that be a strength? I saw one, I'm like, what? That's a weird name. Like, then it made sense when I looked back at the things I'm actually great at. And then you build your team around that, because you can never, like, if you're not good at something, embrace it and then be like, hey, I'm going to find an amazing person to work with that does that a million times better. And so I've built our team based on that. And, they're just the most incredibly talented people, because you're never going to be able to do this journey alone. Anyone that has been a part of myMomentum community has been able to do that thing that they do a million times better than me.
Oh, I love that advice. I find so many founders, especially if if it's their first kind of venture, or they're kind of like an earlier stage, early or younger founder, feel like they have it all, and that somehow saying, you know what, I'm not good at these things first, not entrepreneur first, human first. And as Anna's saying, like, it does take a village. And I know that's a saying that's used for so many things, but it's because the reason it's a well-known saying is because it's true. And it's something that you do, I think, is just so, so important to go through that process of what are my strengths, and then bring those people on and build that team. And love that advice. So thank you for sharing that. And every other piece of advice you brought, like being values first and being comfortable in discomfort, or just being uncomfortable, but knowing that that's part of the process.
I
really,
just
really
wanted
great.
to say hi to Princess and hi to Dorothy. I saw that they joined. Speaking of amazing team and community, those are two, amazing people that have been with us from day one. So hi, guys.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome. And I know we're just wrapping up, and I want to be cognizant of your time. If you're Anna.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Cool. So for those who are just joining us now, please do come back and watch the whole interview. We'll have this on IGTV and YouTube a little bit later, so we'll let you know when it's on there. But check it out, because Anna's a fantastic storyteller. I've just been like on the edge of my seat learning about everything that she's gone through. And I know there's so many more pieces to the story that we're not going to get into, but so please do come back and learn more. So fantastic. We've learned about the origins. We've learned about what you've gone through, about some of your fundraising journey, about the last, how you've dealt with 2020 and your vision going forward. And we've already talked a little bit also about what's involved if you actually land on the app and are interacting with it. So today, where you're at, what is the best way for us as your community to support you?
What's my ask?
Or what?
Yeah, I think definitely check out the app if you haven't done so, and use it. I think more than anything in COVID, especially in this pandemic, we just need to be conscious of our wellness. And I've slipped. It's hard for me to find movement every day. I'm just starting to look at what I'm eating and being like, wow, my energy is definitely dependent on what I'm eating. I think the app is a great way to just check in with yourself, and we're doing lots of new product development shortly to really get that, a little bit more of that tracking sense. Again, not objective, but more subjective. Hey, how am I doing today? And then take action. Like, take action, whether you do the wellness challenge, come to our community event, or go do your own sweat through the digital sweats that we're offering, or in the events tab and another event. Collect those points and then earn those rewards. Do something really great for yourself for making those choices, and support the local businesses that need the support. So it's just so intertwined. And my ask is definitely to go on the app. I have a second ask is if we have a few September M boxes left over. For anyone that doesn't know about M-Box, it's a COVID initiative. We come together with 20 plus brands locally. And for every 5 boxes we sell, we give 1 back to the community. There's only a handful left, and we're moving that to quarterly. So message me if you are interested in one. Deliveries go out either tonight or Monday. But yeah, by inherently, again, another healthy choice. You're buying a box. You can keep it for yourself. You don't have to gift it, but you're inherently helping the community as well. And we've had almost close to $10,000 of goods donated to the front line over the last 5 months. And more than 500 people have come together to help this initiative, with 75 plus brands being supported locally.
It's amazing. Okay, so if they want to, I know they can go to it's myMomentum.com to download the application. Sorry, I'm hearing some background noise. Is it okay on your side of things?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm getting distracted by small spaces that my husband's in a meeting all of a sudden I'm hearing, so I apologize for that, and it's distracting me, so I'm gonna stop looking at him. All right, so so it's mymomentum.com. If you go there, they can download the app straight from your website. Can also access the M-Box okay, subscription that you're talking about? Okay, perfect. Okay, so everyone head there, and also just, follow myMomentum on social. It's really fun to be part of the community on social, as well as going to the events always looks so fun. I haven't got to go to see all the pictures when you were doing them in person, and kind of hear what's happening in the community as well. It's really fantastic. All right, so I'd love to know, as we're wrapping up here, is there anything that we haven't touched on here today that you wanted to talk about?
I don't think, thanks for all the amazing questions and the opportunity to just share my story. I just love being able to get some of the messaging out to any other entrepreneurs that are thinking about starting their own thing. I know, Melanie, you asked me a few soapbox questions, as you called it. I don't know if this is an opportunity, but I mean, really anything. I think, I think the biggest message for me would be to, just really get clear on what you love. For me, it was traveling. I know I mentioned that. I had done tons of traveling before, and just finding community and connection throughout my journey as an entrepreneur. But I think I feel like we've covered so much. So
I know, and I know also you have touched on how you were pregnant when you were first kind of launching myMomentum, and that's been a big part of the journey. And I know, parenting as an entrepreneur, as a bootstrapping entrepreneur, and sometimes having to do it solo, or for a lot of the journey, I think doing it fairly solo, as well, has been a big part of your story. And I think it's really interesting. I feel like I've learned a lot from you, just talking to you about what you've experienced. I don't know if you have any kind of tips for other entrepreneurs who have small kids or are expecting to have kids.
Yes, go for it.
I think that's also very relevant to a lot of
people.
Don't let it stop you.
Yes, no, go for it. Honestly, it's been the biggest, the most meaningful thing ever to be able to have my son and the business all like exactly the same time, literally pregnant with myMomentum and pregnant with James. There's so many parallels. It's crazy. Like, both business and James are a toddler now. They can kind of be on their own, but yet not quite. Or when he was learning how to walk, it was like, ooh, you can kind of, oh no, you just fell. Oh God, oh, I think we're getting revenue. Oh, nope, flat on our face again. I think there's just so many parallels in that you need to also really like nurture and care, and it takes time. Like I look at my son, I'm like, whoa, you're almost 40 pounds now. What happened? Like my sister just had a newborn baby. I'm like, you were that small. Oh my God, I don't even know how to hold you, like this newborn baby. How did that happen? And it's the same thing with your business. It just takes day after day after day. Entrepreneurship is not glorious at all. You're doing the same thing day after day after day after day. Every day I wake up, I get my son, I feed him breakfast. He has eggs almost every day. It's the same thing. Then he does, then he does X, Y, Z, and it's just very the same, but it's every day. And then 2.5 years later, he's taller. He can speak. He can walk on his own. Like, it's just been so awesome doing it together. So for any other moms that have like a dream that they want to go for it, I just say go for it and you'll figure it out. It's a little bit chaotic and sometimes a gong show, but it's so doable. And I think it actually makes for a more powerful entrepreneur in a lot of ways, because you can also suddenly, as a mom, you also have this amazing time management skill. And at the end of the day, you're like, gotta sleep because gotta do this all again. So I think like just, the ability to get a lot of like shit done in a day. That's usually the slogan for entrepreneurs, but do it smartly. I think before I used to just do a lot and maybe just go on the hamster wheel, but now it's like, okay, I've got
be really
1
intentional.
hour. Where am I going to focus that energy, and where's the best place for my time? And then for balance, it's 9 p.m. and I'm going to go have some personal time and then get sleep, because I can't be a great mom if I don't have sleep. And vice versa, I can't be a great business owner if I'm not sleeping. So you just start to get really great at juggling all those things. I actually don't think I ever could have done that if I hadn't had my son at the same time.
Amazing. Yeah. And then building that great team and really focusing on your values. It sounds like some of your tips also come from like having that really like ability to focus and having to.
Like with the team as well. Just one last comment. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are a little bit, they might not want to build the team right away or whatever. I felt I was a little forced to from day one, and my team has been incredible, but I had to rely on them a lot because I couldn't do a lot of the things. So it does force you to just, go for it, but also bring in everyone that can help you and ask for help. Ask for help in a big way. And that's you're thrown right into that. Help me and everyone, mom, sisters, everyone.
All the people. Oh, yes. And I always want to thank my team as well, because honestly, I can back that up, like having an incredible team who are like believe in what you're doing and that you respect and can trust to give pieces as an entrepreneur. I'm so incredibly grateful to our team. Paul and I don't think we could have gotten through, or would have looked a lot different and a lot more messy especially the last 8 months. It's been so incredible, and you are incredible, and we thank you. Just thank you to all the startup teams out there. Okay, so let's wrap up now. I know we've gone quite a bit over, so I really appreciate you sticking here with us, Anna. Usually we stick to the 30 minutes, but it's just so fascinating hearing your story. So to wrap it up, what I like to always ask is, what is one thing that is bringing you joy right now?
Bringing me joy. Oh God. I think just, what's one thing? A lot of things right now I feel like are not as challenging. I definitely think watching my son at this age is really amazing. He's 2.5 and he's starting to talk, and he'll say the quirkiest things. I'm loving this stage for sure.
Cool. Amazing. All right. Thank you so much. And to everyone who's joined us today, thank you for being here, whether you're watching live or watching it later. We really appreciate it. Appreciate our community. Make sure to go check out myMomentum. It's myMomentum.com. Make sure to check out what Anna's doing, what their team is doing. Really excited for to follow your journey and see what the future holds for you, Anna. So really appreciate you being here today. And to everyone else here, we will be back on Tuesday with another founder chat. And I think we have every Tuesday booked now for the next kind of like month and a half. So do come back Tuesdays, generally, not Thursdays, generally Tuesdays at 10:30 a.m. Pacific. Sometimes we adjust them because we just really
Thank
want to
you,
talk to you.
guys.
Yeah, no, it was really great having you. And please do come back anytime. Give us updates. Let us know what's happening with myMomentum. So we will see you around. And to everyone else, I hope you have a
Thank you
great
so
rest of your
much.
day. Yeah, you're
Thanks,
welcome. All
Melanie.
right.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone. Bye, everybody.